All right, welcome back to the show. My name is Fentu. We are on till 10:30 p.m. Joining me on the show tonight, Sichofe Philip Atrim is here.
As always.
How you doing, man?
I'm well. How you doing?
Good.
Brilliant.
Danny K is a bit unwell, so we are roping in Rahman Osman to join us. Where's Rahman now? Where's my director? Rahman is supposed to be on this screen. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but Rahman is on, apparently. But we'll see him a little later on the show. Not a little later, very shortly, actually. He's going to join us to do the show shortly. But can Rahman hear me? Rahman, can you hear me?
Hi, friends. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
I can hear you, man. I can hear you. My producers are working on putting you on the screen here so I can see you inside the studio as well. Welcome to the show. I hope you're doing well.
No, I'm brilliant. Always a pleasure, to join you guys. You, Sicho, and it's just sad to hear that, Danny Kranti is unwell. I'll try as much as possible.
I know, right?
For him.
Yeah, you're more than capable. Congratulations on your new job, though.
Yes.
I have a new job, new role, a lot of responsibility. Hopefully, more money so I can wear tight. Stuff like you do.
Man. Congratulations on that. All the best.
Yeah.
We know you will kill it. We know you will do a great job. So, yeah, well deserved. And
thank you, brother.
Yeah, all the best.
Man. So, listen. Let's hold on for a second. Now, over the weekend, Kumasi Asante Kotoko, fans all around the country converged in Kumasi to observe the 1 week of the passing of Nana Pole in Kumasi. There were some very, very sad scenes indeed. I think I see Rahman now. Rahman, you're on my screen right now.
There he is.
Brilliant. That's what I was waiting for. You look nice.
No, you didn't
with a lot of flowers behind you.
You didn't have a very good Valentine, I can imagine, because you've got red roses right behind you. What's the secret?
This is my kitchen. Honestly, it's my kitchen. And because I use it for a lot of Zoom, I was just tempted to put a really nice background behind it.
It works out
You can see
perfectly.
my wardrobes and all that. So, it smells like wachi and all the
It's brilliant. It works well.
Yeah, that background is nice. Good to have you. So, guys, this is what we're going to do. Rahman is going to stay with us. He's been very kind to offer his time to us. He's going to stay with us for the rest of the show to analyze all of the issues. Now, Rahman, right now, you heard Sicho congratulating him on a new job. He's now got a new job reporting on Chelsea for 442. Before that, he was reporting on Chelsea for London World. So this guy knows Chelsea inside and out. You saw him here 2 weeks ago, or was it 3 weeks ago when he came on the show, the sort of insider information he shared. And given Chelsea's troubles, he's just the right guy to bring on here to speak to a lot of the issues that are happening. Is Maressa going to be sacked? Are the owners happy with his remarks? Sicho, who said he's not going to say anything about Chelsea, suddenly has discovered his voice.
Where?
He's tweeting left, right.
I'm not tweeting about Chelsea.
We'll get back to it.
I'm still not tweeting about Chelsea. Don't misinform.
My friend, we have seen your tweets. Keep quiet.
I was only asking if there was a game that was played, that's all.
But guys, on the weekend, on the Sunday when we were mourning the 1 week or observing the 1 week of the passing of Nana Pole, when every Ghanaian in the football space was supposed to be reflecting in a sober mood about our actions and inactions that have led to the needless death of a fan, there was more violence erupting. Some people in Elmina decided that it wasn't necessary and it didn't matter to them, okay? And it was one of those things that perhaps, that would definitely, if as a Ghanaian football fan, if you didn't think we had a serious problem, one of those things that would have reminded you how serious the situation is. But we will get to that. First up, though, let's just show you scenes from Kumasi from the 1 week observation. So some photos. To be honest, this was nice to see in a way that is also very sad. So all of the fans that came together, all of the people that came together to mourn his passing. For once, Ghana Football United. Some very interesting pictures. There were videos, and some of the videos are very disturbing. That's why we're not going to show them, of his children crying and wailing uncontrollably. Very sad scenes, and I feel really bad showing stuff like that on the screen. But these images, Sicho, I mean, it's, you know, it's hard to say that this is beautiful, but it really was good to see that at least everyone put their differences aside to come in and just serve as a reminder of what a needless thing to have happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, another Kotoko fan, very passionate, loyal, faithful to the club, lost his life by supporting the club in a way that shouldn't have happened. I mean, it's not something that anybody around this country would be proud of. Unfortunately, all of this will be pointless if restructuring is not done. All of this will be pointless. It will be pointless if we don't fix the problems that are deep-rooted in our football culture and its planning. So it's sad this has happened, but if it's not going to get us to pause, rethink, realign, and do the things in the right way, then the young man would have or might have lost his life for nothing at all. Yeah. And it's an opportunity that presents itself to governments and all stakeholders to really pause and reflect on what we call football in this country. And as you mentioned in that intro, while all of this was happening, somewhere else in another region, the same sports being played in a different division, the very things that led to this incident was also brewing somewhere else. So leaves you, you know, if you're a football fan, you're thinking, or if you're a Ghanaian, you're wondering if there are real leaders around taking care of the very issues that has caused a loss of life in the last couple of days. And it's a shame, and it's just sad that after this incident that cost this young man Pole, as is affectionately called, his life, it doesn't look like the immediate aftermath has seen any reflection on the sport that is some way, somehow still continuing.
And this incident in Elmina was happening right around the same time when everybody in this country was mourning Nana Pole. A Division 1 league game was happening between, you know, Elmina Sharks and Straight Draw All Black. Referee awards a penalty. Some people don't agree. I'm sure, and then the referee gets beaten. But now, let's just show actually, there's a report that we've put together to basically tell you exactly what happened in Elmina on Sunday while the rest of the Ghana football fraternity was mourning Nana Pole in Kumasi. Take a look.
Penalty was awarded 12 minutes into the game after the referee ruled that there had been sufficient contact on an All Blacks attacker inside the 18-yard box. The decision was met with strong protest from the home side, leading to a temporary suspension of the match for about 30 minutes. Despite the delay, the penalty was eventually converted, securing all 3 points for All Blacks, who now sit in pole position for promotion to the Ghana Premier League in Zone 2. Frustrated by the referee's call, some Elmina Sharks players and officials resorted to verbal abuse and physical attack on the match officials. However, swift intervention from the police ensured the referees were safely escorted from the chaotic scene after the final whistle. Reacting to the incident on Facebook, Elmina Sharks CEO Dr. Papakwesi Nduom criticized the performance and conduct of the match officials, calling for urgent reforms in Ghanaian football. He emphasized that such incidents are damaging the sport in the country. The latest case of match day violence comes just 2 weeks after the tragic stabbing of a Asante Kotoko fan, Nana Pole, during a Ghana Premier League match day 19 fixture between Saint-Germain and Kumasi Asante Kotoko. That incident prompted the introduction of enhanced safety and security protocols for all clubs, which are barely a week old. However, this fresh outbreak of hooliganism raises serious concerns about the effectiveness of these measures, suggesting they may be inadequate in addressing the deep-rooted problem of violence in Ghanaian football.
So very interesting. And there's been a lot happening since this incident. And I'll tell you about some of the reactions. But Just need to update you that the Ghana Football Association charged the Elmina Sharks player who punched the referee. You saw that in the visual. One of them punching the referee. And since then, the general manager, the guy in the white T-shirt in the video, I'm sure Benai will play it back, he has also been arrested since the incident. His name is Kelvin Abwaji. That's him in the white T-shirt just behind the police officer there. That's him. In the middle of the melee there, he's also been arrested as a result. And then the player that is being stopped from punching the referee, just roll on that video just a second before. That's the player being taken away. He's been charged by the GFA prosecutor, footballer, professional footballer, punching a referee right in the middle of a football match. All of this happening alongside the funeral that was happening over the death of a fan who got stabbed at a football match. Now, this is the Elmina Sharks owner, Papa Kwesi Nduom. He is the financier of the team. After he was at the stadium, and after he took to Facebook to write quite a lot of stuff about what's happening, but he also spoke thereof after and says that he's considering leaving football. Let's take a listen to what Papa Kwesi Nduom said.
Me, I am saying that as I'm speaking to you, I haven't made a decision, but I will make a decision whether we continue to be in the league or not. We can have a football academy, train people, train all kinds of young people, give them an education, all sorts of things, and then maybe they'll go somewhere else in the world to play soccer, okay? And then if we want to play soccer nationally, we can invite dwarfs for matches. We can invite protocol for matches, friendly matches here and there. We could do that for entertainment.
Yes.
Is that what we want? For entertainment.
Yes.
We can do that.
Yes.
So I will make that decision, okay? I'll make that decision. But what I'm saying is that there must be people in Ghana interested enough in our football to want to say, look, let's have a number of people sit down, just like we're saying we're going to have an economic dialogue. Football is money. It's money, okay? Let's sit down and figure out what is it that we must do. And we must do. People keep talking about football mafia, and then we laugh about it and we go home. Does it exist or not? Oh, what is there that is going on? Why is it that some people, they will go hell and heaven to make sure that they are in certain positions? And me, if you want to shut me up, it's not possible. Because this one is not my job. This one is not what feeds me. This is entertainment. And if something is going wrong, I will speak about it. There's nothing anybody can do. If they want to punish Sharks as a football club, they will punish in Ghanaian football. Me, I am saying that...
Wow. Wow. I mean, listen, I am personally very, very tired, exhausted of this cyclical nonsense that's been going on. Football is paused. There's nothing happening. Like, why do we do the job that we do? There's absolutely nothing in our football right now that I can point to and say, this is something good that's happening. Sicho, listen, I'll bring you in. But Rahman, you are in the UK. In the 80s, early 90s, hooliganism rocked English football. It really was a major part of English football. They've come a long way since then. They've fixed it. What aren't we doing right?
Listen, it's just like we've started the show on a very sad note. I mean, on the notes that the death of Paulie, and it's a case I've been following so much, even from afar. I think that, I mean, in my dialect, where I come from, they say if your mom is dead and you say she's asleep, you're deceiving yourself because eventually she won't wake up. The problem or the answer to your question is that just the way our football is structured. So you spoke about the hooliganism in English football before 80s and 90s, before the Premier League came. I think that one of the biggest problems we have as a country, and I'm being very honest on this, is just the way the FA is structured. And I'm not even saying this against the current FA. I just think that the whole composition of it just is so loose to a point that it's virtually difficult to be able to do a good job, because they are just the same people who own the clubs, who then have to be FA presidents and FA vice presidents. When I was growing up, Galka was such a massive deal. It was such an influential body that we had the Galka Top 4, which I remember so well that even though it was a pre-season competition or an off-season competition, the amount of interest it generated was almost equal to the league games we had. Galka, for me, is non-existent. If it exists, it's just by the name. The FA constitution, or the way they are constituted, is that they have to look after their brothers. And if I had a football club and I became an FA president, because I am human, my natural instincts will be to be soft towards it. The way the league or any other competitions like the FA Cup are all under the FA is so weak for them to be firm when they have to take decisions, be it for positive or for punishment. We need to go back to the drawing board and say that, listen, we've been doing this for so long, but we're in 2025. It doesn't serve us right no more. I can hear a lot of people make an argument, and so, of course, everywhere you go, fans go to the stadium, they fight somebody. There's a possibility that somebody could die, and people have died across the world because of that. But the difference is that when that happens, they don't brush it away. They don't sweep it under the carpet. People are made to pay the consequence. That's the point. The way we attend football matches, we need to rip it up and start all over again. Because every football game has to have enough security to a point that you almost know that there's no chance that there will be a clash between people anywhere around the stadium. If you come to England, there's a place that away fans have to go through. It doesn't, they can never meet the home fans. It's almost impossible. All these things are measures put in place because people understand that football is emotions. Every single day event, the Ghana Premier League, there is an event of hooliganism or somebody slapping somebody. Like, think about it. How bad does your league have to be that a professional footballer is not even afraid? Like, he has the audacity to slap a referee. It just tells you how much lawlessness. He just knows that the best he will get is a few games ban, and his career doesn't have to suffer for it. Because he can then say that the people even running the league are not doing a good job. So to answer your question, which is such a simple question, but so packed, we literally don't have a functioning league. We just continue doing the same things we've done in the 90s and expecting that magically we will improve. And it doesn't work that way. It doesn't. Wasn't Einstein who said it's only silly people who keep doing the same things and expecting different results?
Interesting. Rama, I mean, you presented the case and it's quite clear. And it's an issue that we've spoken about a lot, Sicho. He says the issue is systematic.
Yep.
No matter what we do, if the system isn't fixed, nothing is going to change. So what in our system needs to change? Because listen, I will be honest with you. When they came up with the reviewed and renewed security measures, they literally lifted them from the CAF website.
Yeah.
So no one gave it an actual thought.
Practical thought.
About what applies to the Ghanaian context.
Yeah.
What makes our case so unique? We just went to CAF website, lifted everything there, and then just put a signature. That's lazy.
It's lazy, it's incompetence, it's lack of respect.
What is wrong with us?
It is a lack of respect for Ghanaians, and it's also...
Or the thing we would never discover.
So, and even if they thought we were never going to discover, the death of Polish should let you sit up, right? And say, let's put all our hands on the deck and work, right? And that tells you that they placed no premium on the sad incident that happened to the boy. And if we think that that incident is going to whip up any sort of, level of awareness from this FA hierarchy.
That it would become a watershed moment.
We are mistaken. It's not going to happen. And this is why I say this. And Roman makes a very good point. It's the structure of the FA. I think that we need to rip it apart. Like many people have said it in many ways, that we need to dissolve it, blah, blah, blah. And I have not necessarily been one that has leaned towards dissolving the FA. But I took a pause and I thought that there could be many, many other ways of ripping the current system apart. The government, as we speak, can't sit, fold its arms, and watch its citizens go to match venues and put their lives at risk. They need to step in. 2 weeks ago, somebody lost his life. 2 weeks on, people are fighting at the stadium. The government at the moment cannot sit and tell us that football people are handling football. That would be gross incompetence from the new government. That would be gross incompetence from the president, John Mahama, and the sports minister, Honorable Kofi Adams. They need to take massive responsibility for a lot of things that are happening, because you can't keep leaving this for the proven failure of this FA. You can't ask them to do it. And I tell you why. This is it. When Pole died, the problem was not about the Ghana Premier League. The problem was about the Ghanaian football culture and the Ghanaian football system on match days. Now, the FA, in its sense, thought that we could pause the Ghana Premier League, which has the best security, which has the best attention, and which has the best focus from them, and thought that it was wise for them to continue the lower divisions that lacks security, that lacks care, and lacks
all of the things that exist in the Premier League, which still resulted in the death of a man.
Absolutely. So, in which leader, in this case, I should use it, in his right senses, would think that after Pole had died, it made sense to continue playing football across the pyramid. Because
when it is even well documented that the Division 1 league has more violence.
It's worse. It's what I'm saying.
The Premier League.
Because the Premier League has more security, but that security is not adequate. Comparing the Premier League to the Division 1, Premier League is far better. Far, far better to Division 1.
You're saying that we should not, in the first place,
we should not be playing football on the back of what has happened to Pole, because the Premier League, the Pole's issue was the Premier League matter.
To the extent of kicking off a game to coincide with the morning of the boy. I mean,
that is insensitive, right? And so for me, and I've told you guys, I've said it and I'll say it again, I, Philip Sichope-Achim, have got absolutely no confidence in this FA that they are capable and they have the knowledge and the know-how to work Ghana football. They've demonstrated over the last 5 years that they lack every capacity to do it. Wow. And this is why I'm calling on government to step in. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think that when we say an FA should be ripped apart, people can use dissolve and whatever. It doesn't necessarily mean FIFA would have to ban us. Because if the government is active and proactive and it calls on FIFA that the people you are dealing with are running football that is causing casualties in the country, and give them the proven track record of their failures, the amount of money they've spent on them, but the results are not showing. And government sits with the organizing body of FIFA and discusses with them that we need a new way. Give us options and let us choose. I'm not sure if it's going to tell them they're going to suspend you.
Absolutely.
If the president and then the sector minister sits aloof and keep telling us that football people, these people have demonstrated they can't do the job. If they keep telling us that they are running the sport, I'm not going to blame the FA again because they've shown their true colors. They can't do it. It's the blame will be right on the doorsteps of the president and the sector minister, and they need to start working.
Brilliant. And the reason the government is unable to act on all of these things is because the government has no licensing regime for our football.
Yep.
This is a massive problem. How does the government of Ghana not have a policy on how football or sports in general should be run? So we don't have a licensing regime for our clubs that is enforceable by state or government authorities. So our football clubs are not answerable to our government. Today, the Ministry of Youth and Sports cannot shut down a Ghana Premier League club. Because why? There is no document.
Yeah, no policies.
No policy for them to stand on and say, you don't fulfill A, B, C, and D, so therefore we are shutting you down. I don't think this is serious enough.
No.
As a football country, or as a country that is seriously thinking about the sports economy, to not have a regulation on how football is run. So even if the government wanted to implement anything today and shut down a football club for not complying with anything, what would they be shutting them down for not complying with? What document exists to spell out what is required of a football club that is enforceable by the government? What we have is the club licensing system, enforceable by the GFA, whose members own the football club. You're saying that Ketokreku should shut down his own club. FC. That's what we are saying.
Yep.
The GFA should not be the ones allowed to enforce regulation on football clubs in this country.
Yeah.
That authority should be placed with the government. The government should have, among other things, even stadium licensing regime. Apart from the club licensing regime, we should have a stadium licensing regime. The stadium licensing regime should be enforceable by the government of Ghana with a committee whose work is supervised by a board, so that you know that every season the government is sending people around to all the venues and checking off the checklist of every single thing that needs to be in place at that venue before it is approved by football. Again, the approval of a stadium should not be left to the Ghana Football Association, because clearly, as Sicho said, over the years, they've had this club licensing regime for nearly 10 years now. And every season, they make compromises for the clubs to continue to play football. Somebody needs to step up. And the government has no policy of its own, has no licensing regime of its own, not of the clubs, not of the venue. How is this okay? And there are several examples that are bound around the world, several documents that you could adapt and make it work, contextualize it and make it work. If you don't know where to find the document, come and see me. They are there. Whether it is the FA club licensing or stadium licensing regime, the Interpol security, the club licensing, the stadium licensing regime, the documents are there. I have been reading, poring over every single one of them. And the ideas that they provide, including, most importantly, the checks and balances. Yeah. So I have a question for you. When the club licensing people go and come back and come and tell you that this stadium is okay to play football, and then we go and play football and something happens, whose job is it to hold the club licensing committee members responsible?
Nobody. Nobody.
So where are the checks and balances above that level?
Yeah.
So you're saying that the committee has a final say, and whether they get to right or wrong, there is no consequences for the committee members.
There's never been a consequence. And I'm saying that that's what I'm saying.
It shouldn't be.
This time, it's not a matter of the FA. As for the FA, Ketokreku and his people are a disaster. As for that one, everybody knows. Only those who perhaps are, he's employed and his people, but every Ghanaian knows that they have been a massive disaster. So we can't keep blaming the FA. We know their track record. They won't turn the corner. They are bad. Now,
government hasn't done its job.
It's a disaster.
To be honest,
the government have not supervised.
Has failed miserably.
They failed. The governments are failing at it, and that is why there's a new government. We give them a pass. Let's see what they think about the sport. Let's see what they will
have an opportunity.
They've got to work. They have to start working. We can't keep going on like this, because as for the FA, they won't get it right. The track record is there. They are a disaster. I have no trust in them. But I can't believe that the president and the sector minister will sit and watch these things go on. They need to come up with policies. They need to come up with measures that takes absolute power from the FA and makes Ghana sports centrally through government. The government should to determine who qualifies to own a club, what a football club should should be like, what an academy should look like,
what a stadium
should look like to be safe for its citizens. That can be left for the FA.
Because
they can do it.
How is it okay that, and how is it possible that the Ghana Health Service and the Ministry of Health can close a hospital for not complying with certain regulations, but the Ministry of Youth and Sports cannot
close. Ministry of Education can close down schools.
Yes.
They can tell you some universities don't have the right documentation they are not accredited.
Yes.
Why can't
there is no accreditation process for football clubs in Ghana.
So right now it's not
by
FA.
the government. How
right
is
now
that
it's not
okay?
FA, it's government. Right now there's no FA, it's government. And Raman, it's not government.
I wanted just to say something because on the licensing topic, and in every society that excels, somebody has to check somebody.
Yes.
It's just the truth.
Checks and balances.
And the problem, again, and I take what Sicho said, it's not even about the FA. In our lifetime, all of us, Sicho, Fentana, we saw May 9th, and we thought that was going to be the watershed moment.
Yep.
We literally thought that football will change in a way where nobody will go to a stadium, regardless of how much they don't agree with a decision, that they will be able to go back to their homes. In other parts of the world, because of the checks and balances, and listen, human beings here, we are the same everywhere we go, whether you live in the UK or in America or in Africa. The only reason why there's discipline in other parts of the world is that there are consequences for actions.
Yeah.
So fans know that when they go for a football game, that they've spent their hard-earned money to pay for the ticket. If they go and misbehave, they can get a lifetime ban. They will never watch a football game in a stadium, and they could even go to prison. And it's easy to identify the people who do that because the way they sell the tickets. And that is why most times you can't just get up from anywhere in the world and walk to Chelsea and buy a ticket. They need to know who you are, where you're coming from, where you work, before they sell a ticket for you. So when you go into the stadium and mess up, you're not only going to get to trouble for just messing up in the stadium, you could lose your job because they have a data of where you work, where you feed your family from. Now, the clubs have that responsibility to take care of their fans. And because the clubs because the clubs also are checked by, I'm assuming, by the FA, that they know the number of fans that come to watch them. They know the people who are always sat in their side of the stadium. When there's a trouble or when people are fighting, they can easily fish them out. If they don't do, they have to bear the consequences. Now, if they have to respond to government, if they don't respond adequately, they could face charges, lose a lot of money. And listen, just having this conversation, it just starts me to think that one of the biggest tourism attraction we could have in Ghana is football. If we organize it properly.
Absolutely.
If we do it properly.
Absolutely.
And we can assure that people go and they return home to their families. And we can assure that when decisions are made and there are mistakes, they're coming from genuine places and not mafia. You can think about this country easily was called the Brazil of Africa. Some of the best talents ever in the world came from Ghana.
Absolutely.
And now, every single year, there are indications that we are losing what used to be valuable to us. And it's because of the way our football is organized. And every time we drum them and they say, oh, you're for the FA or you're anti the FA. Can you not see that as things goes on, as time goes on, you need to adapt to changing. The world is changing. It's not 1999, it's 2025. Honestly. So the checks and balances and the government, I genuinely think it's the government. And you rightfully hit the nail right on the head. It's about the way the whole power structure is. Nobody is holding anyone accountable. The FA, like most people say, the FA will always be in bed with government because they look at it and say, listen, we're only here for a short period. Let's do what we can do, or let's enjoy how we can enjoy. But that mindset has to change. If it doesn't change, we will continue having instances like this, and it's going to head. Can you imagine what Polish family are going through at the moment? Just because he wanted to watch people kick a ball.
Rahman, strong words, very passionate
just
words.
finally, how is it that and the wise king, the wise Ashanti king, he said that the only thing that is disgracing him is Kotoko. How is it that Dr. Pakwesi Indu, after all the successes that he's struck in his business, it is Elmina Sharks that is the worst business he's ever done. Think about it. How is it that Tobe Afede, Look how
they insult him because of House of Folk.
Because his House of Folk team is failing.
Domahene is a respected judge.
But now
they insult him because of Adriana Stars.
And Adriana Stars are not looking good.
A former MP has been arrested.
Why is that anytime successful people in any other field enter football, their work on football doesn't work? Have we taken a pause?
Problem.
Yes. Anytime you have a team running through the FA. It doesn't work. The best football setup we've had in this country, the best in the last 15 years or so, it's not under the FA, right? To Dreams Academy. 25 years. No, but let's say they've been yielding massively in the last 15. Let's go 25 years, no problem. Why is it that they are the best run sporting entity in the country? The answer is simple. They don't run through the Ghana Football Association. That's the answer. They don't run through the Ghana Football Association. So the government is over to you. You need to step in for the Ghanaian youth and for the Ghanaian people because these FA people, they are a disaster.
Over to you, GOG. Sicho and Rahman were very strong words. On that note, we close the chapter on Ghana football tonight on the show. We spent a good 40 minutes on that topic. I hope the ones that have ears will listen because we've been here many times and some of you get very annoyed when we talk about Ghana football. But it matters to us. It's very, very important to us. Yeah. So that's why we talk about it. Because without Ghana football, I wouldn't have my job. Rahman probably wouldn't have his job. Sicho wouldn't be on TV. It's Ghana football that's brought us here. We will continue to preach for the right reforms, for the right things to be done, and for the betterment of our football. Football has given all of us massive opportunities.
Incredible.
You know, and so it's in our interest that the football thrives, that the football economy does well. This is Sports Zone on Joy Prime. The show is proudly sponsored by Piva Beverages, producers of Piva Water, Syntex Stand, Guinness, as well as Kivo 4-in-1 Gary Mix. We will take a short
break. Did you take the Piva drink to the UK?
That's it. To the UK.
Interesting.
You did, man. Wonderful, bro. Rahman is a great guy.
Great guy.
We will take a break. When we come back, I've got more of your messages. And then, of course, we'll take you to Europe, which is what most of you have been itching to talk about and hear about. Everything that is happening from, of course, the English Premier League, the Serie A, the Liga. Karim will also come in here with Ghanaian players abroad. So do stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Sports Zone on Joy Prime. The show is brought to you by Piva Beverages. Let me tell you a bit more about Piva. Listen, they have products in all kinds of flavors for you. If you're looking for a burst of flavor in every sip, discover that refreshing taste of Piva Beverages. You can enjoy the classic Piva Cola. You can use it for all your mixes. Orange flavor, tangerine flavor, grape, and the cocktail. Flavorful moments in every bottle. Piva Cola, orange, cocktail, grape, and tangy. Tangy is my personal favorite. I don't know, Sicho. Rahman loves that drink.
We all love it.
Yeah. Tangy is nice.
Tangy is brilliant.
So yeah, you can grab yours today. If you want to buy it in bulk, it's available now at your local store or call us on 0550 032231. 0550 032231. Piva, a taste you will love. It's also brought to you by Guinness. Guinness, of course, they are sponsors of a Guinness match day. We'll bring you that very shortly. Kivo 4-in-1 Gary Mix and also Syntex Tank, a strong itself. I've got some messages here before we bring in Karim for Ghanaian players abroad. This one says, good evening, friend. It's so sad that we lost a football supporter. And what pains me most is that the disease didn't do anything wrong on the match day to deserve that attack. It was a planned dream by some people to kill Paulie on the day, and unfortunately for him, they succeeded in achieving their dream. My name is Akwesi Amponsa Sidov in Dunkwa or Fen. Thank you, Akwesi, for your message. Joseph from Bande says, let me congratulate Rahman on his new job. I wish him a good time. Regarding Paulie's defense, rest well, beloved. And you say, we, Real Madrid, are going to roast Man City in the Santiago this time around. Hala Madrid. Thank you for your message. This message says, I miss Karim on the show. My darling Chelsea owners need to step up. The current performance can't keep good players like Palmer. They need to look into their project. French, you know what? I visited Tumu for the first time last week. Massa, try and visit Tumu. He says, thanks for the one. And he said, Aisha, thanks for the wonderful reception. I'll come back soon.
Aisha's body.
This guy, what did Aisha do for you? What did Aisha do for you?
I think up north.
But you love Tumu. Tumu is nice.
Yeah, up north, I've got some of the best hospitality.
Yeah,
the people are so welcoming. They serve you brilliantly. It's,
we're planning on going to Tumu.
Oh yeah, we have a
after
Tumu.
Ramadan.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You've
Middle
not
of
mentioned
April.
the name. Who is the message from?
Who?
Who is the message?
I don't know.
But you've not been introduced.
I'm
You've introduced
shocked.
yourself into the
Why
show.
You, why you?
I was interested in the message, right?
Well, somebody introduced you via
Take
the
him off the
message.
spot. Thank you very much. I'm the one in charge here. Hi, I'm Barnabas watching you live from Boku. Liverpool is winning the EPL this season. There's no doubt about it. This one says, my favorite 3 parties. Please ask Chicho and Prophet Danny, what can Arsenal do to win the trophy this season? And he said, get well soon, Danny K.
Keep playing Merino. Keep playing Merino up
Keep
top.
praying.
Merino up
Danny
top.
cry, he do I, now he makes sick. He follow that test. That's Kofi in Techiman. Kofi, thank you for your message. This message says, it was very sad when I saw this video. In fact, our football is so bad that it cannot attract sponsors. This is unacceptable. Fen, this is so bad. This message says, I'm Pacino. In fact, Chelsea fans should keep quiet. When Maresca went to Chelsea, they thought of making noise, forgetting that Maresca would Maresca them in the end. I'm very happy that City won against Newcastle. Seafarrow, Jackie Chan, and Mini Rodri were excellent on Saturday, making sure Newcastle couldn't play the way they wanted. For me, I'm very happy for Jackie Chan. You know who they're calling Jackie Chan, right?
Jackie Chan.
Kusunov.
Oh!
Because he played so well and successfully kung fu Isak and placed him in his pocket. As for Manchester United, dear, I don't know whether you agree with me, but for a team like United to be relying on Ahmad is very bad. Ahmad is just playing good in a team performing very poorly. If Ahmad were to be in other top clubs, he would likely be on the bench. If United's standard was so high, he would be on the bench. Sisho and Fentio, am I lying?
You're right.
Is it am I lying? Good evening, guys. I've always told my friends and co-workers that I would rather invest my whole account and time in Lesotho Division 6 club going for relegation than watch a 5-second highlight of GPL match. That's a little harsh.
But I know that's how people feel about Ghana football. Why do you want to beat it down?
I swear, Ghana be the most seriously unserious nation in the whole world. This is from Ben inside Bogoso. This message from Raymond Kofi Forsen at Samra Boy, or is it Samra Bio? He says, I think it's Samra Boy. And he says, more fire. The GFA has collapsed all our happiness and everything. Chelsea also killing me all the time. Phobia 2 to the whole world. I'm Isaac Kofi Forsen inside Akimoda Old Town. Greetings to my boss, Raymond Kofi Forsen at Samra Boy. Okay, I've got your full message now. Keep your messages coming. Let me read some messages on Twitter as well, because our Twitter audience are equally very important. And some of you have been sending in some messages. This message from Gambero Roland, who never misses the show, says, hi, Fen. It's evidently clear that Ruben Amorim is a disaster of a manager. His selections and substitutions don't show any sense of urgency. Even Steve Wonder can see clearly that this manager is a prototype. That's a wild message. Osman's S. Pirlo also on Twitter says, good observation by Sicho. It's only Ghana football that disgraces successful guys in this country. I love that. Quack, bro. All right, Karim, welcome to the show. Quickly, Ghanaian players abroad, what's been happening over the weekend? We don't have time. We need to go to EPL. If you joke, I'll cut you and move on.
I'm sad.
You're sad over what?
My friend is not here.
Your friend is who?
Anakranti.
Okay. Anakranti is your colleague.
He's my friend. He's not my colleague.
No problem.
You don't give me descriptions for people.
Let's go on.
I am not sad again. I am happy.
Okay.
Now what about?
Yes. So I'm happy because Allah says in the Quran that He does not, Quran 2 verses 286, does not burden a soul more than it can bear or contain. So Daniel Cranton should be happy. Whatever is happening is a test. So, and he also said in Quran 94, verse 5, that with every difficulty comes ease. Tomorrow Daniel Cranton will be at work, and I'll see him, and we'll go again. Sharp.
Right now, your scriptures here. Last time you can't go to Bible. Right now, they do Quran.
That's true.
Okay, let's get into it. Over the weekend, that was last Friday, we saw Tariq Lamptey play against his former side, Chelsea, and that was his 100th appearance in the Premier League. Can you guess, out of the 100, how many of them were stars for him?
Is it less than 50, maybe?
That's actually more than about 56 of them were stars for him. Though with all his injury history, he actually played only one Premier League game for Chelsea, then moved on to Brighton, where he has played 99 games for them. And in those 100 games, he has scored 3 goals and provided 9 assists. So this season, after that Chelsea game, he has started 4 games in a row.
Yeah.
In the last 8 months before this run, he has never started 2 games in a row. That was how bad the injuries have disrupted his run of form. Now let's go to another player that I'm focusing on this weekend. Is a young chap who was born in Germany to Ghanaian parents, played for the German under-21s in the October break for them, but still eligible for Ghana, played most of his career for the Borussia Dortmund and youth teams. It means that Otto Addo might actually know him a lot well. Maybe he's talking behind the scene. I'll get in touch with him and we'll see what we can do. Now he plays for Red Bull Salzburg, that is in the Austrian Bundesliga. And over the weekend, they played against WS Tirol. That is, they drew that game 1-1. And in that game, he was really outstanding for them. Out of the tackles he attempted, he won 4 of them. And as well, look at this. This is Stark, 14 duels.
Defender?
Yes.
Centre-back?
Centre-back. 14 duels he won in that game. That was the most of any player. And actually playing as a centre-back won the most fouls as well. Now let's go to the team of the week, where there was a lot of headache, especially in choosing the wingers. But let's begin. Lawrence Atizigi, he's synonymous with something. When he plays, he concedes, but he also saves.
Saves a lot, yeah.
So that was a story over the weekend when St. Gallen played against Verdon, that is in the Swiss Super League. And St. Gallen actually lost 1-0, but he prevented 1.82 goals. That is an estimated 2 goals he prevented in that game. It means that they could have been losing 3-0. And especially the goal came after 92 minutes. That was how unlucky he was with all the saves he's made, 6 of them. And there were only 2 players in the whole of the Swiss league over the weekend that has 2 goalkeepers that have made more saves than the 6 he made over the weekend. Then Atamalawe is struggling. His team is struggling in the Turkish Super League. They are currently fighting relegation. And over the weekend, he scored a goal for them. And that was crucial looking at the situation they are in. They drew that game 1-1, and he scored that goal after 90 minutes. So that was his first goal of the season. Kasarespor, they drew 1-1 against AU-Sport. Prince Ampim plays for AU-Sport in that game. Now, Laurent Blanc, Henry Blanc, I spoke about him. Then Stefan Ambrosius plays in the same team as St. Gallen, as Lawrence Atizigi. Then Barbara Rahman, he provided a hat-trick of assists for PAOK, that is in the Greek Super League. And they won that game by 7-0. That is against Lamia. And this season, he's having a very good season for PAOK. It is overall over the season, he has more than 5 goals and more than 3 assists for PAOK. Now, Lawrence Ajekum plays for Cercle Brugge, and they drew 1-1 against Westerlo, that is in the Belgian Super League. And he was outstanding for them, 1-10. Ball recoveries in the same team as Abu Francis. They are pairing as teammates there, and they play in the same play for the Black Stars. Then Kamaldeen Sulemana, after 21 months, he has finally scored a goal in the Premier League. The last time he scored was in May 2023. That is in the final game of the season when Liverpool played against Southampton, and he scored a brace. So when he went to the Championship, he didn't score a goal. He had to come back to the Premier League after 21 months. He has now scored a goal. Then Enes Nuama, he's a man on form at the moment. In the last 4 games in the French Ligue 1, he has 3 direct goal contributions. That is 2 goals and 1 assist. Over the weekend, Montpellier took on Lyon. That is his team, and he scored the goal that I consider the winning goal. That is, he made it 2-1 for them, and 3 minutes later, in the 53rd minute, he provided an assist for Tolisso to make it 3-1, and they won that game against Montpellier 3-1. And this season, he's now discovering his form after all the struggles from the summer to the general transfer window. We heard he was leaving, but didn't go. Then Semenyo, he's a man on form. Again, he provided an assist in the same game as Kamaldeen. Bournemouth, they won 3-1 against Southampton, and he provided an assist, his 4th assist of the season. And this is actually his best season of his career. He has never been more productive in any season than this. So 4 assists, 7 goals in the Premier League, 2 in the FA Cup. He's having the season of his life. That is it.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you very much, Karim, with the lowdown on all the Ghanaian players and their performances abroad. That 1 goal was what settled it for Spurs. They won. United continue to be rooted in the 15th position in February. These are look at the result under Ruben Amorim since he took charge of Manchester United. There's been 8 defeats for Ruben Amorim in the Premier League. He's only won 4 matches, and only 2 of them draws. 8 defeats in the Premier League. It's all going terribly wrong for Ruben Amorim. And there has been a compendium of reasons and issues for why it's all falling apart. This is a worse run than the run they had under Erik ten Hag when they fired him. But of course, Amorim just came in, so people are giving him the benefit of the doubt. And yes, Amorim himself appears to have made some mistakes. Maybe did he rush with the decision on Rashford? Because Rashford played for Villa over the weekend and he was superb. The same Rashford that Ruben Amorim said he would rather play a 45-year-old goalkeeper than play a player like Rashford who doesn't seem committed. Was that a mistake? Was that situation less ideally handled? How much of United's problems are on Amorim himself? That's my question to Sicho and Rahman before we get into the Chelsea issues. Sicho, let me come to you. How much of this run is the manager's fault?
Fenton, it's difficult to say at the moment.
Is he at fault at all?
Again, I think he is at fault a little bit or to some extent, but it's difficult to place a hand on it because this is not his team. This is absolutely not his team. And I thought that in January, Ineos were going to back him and show a bit more of, back, because he's the first coach that Ineos have appointed as DS. So I was thinking that in January, you're going to give him something to work with, something just to make the team a lot better. Then in the summer, you go all out there and spend a lot more. But we saw Ineos handle the January transfer. It's probably the worst January transfer I've seen any club, handle. Because they didn't bring in bodies, yet they let bodies out of the door for a team that was already struggling. If Man United were performing and they were first, and they thought they had surplus players and they wanted to move them on in January, I could understand. But Man United were struggling, and even before the January window, the team looked like they needed more bodies through the door.
Right.
Yet they sent bodies out of the door and brought in almost nobody apart from Dogu. So the team is now weaker, coupled with the injury situation that they are now affected with. So it's difficult to blame, it is difficult. However, it could also be that beneath all these cracks from Ineos is a manager who perhaps his style and his system might have been great in the Portuguese league, but it's been easily found out in the Premier League. But all of that can be really said because Ineos have not offered him the opportunity.
The environment hasn't been provided.
He hasn't been provided.
But he himself, in managing the dressing room, Rahman, how much of that is his fault? Because the Rashford situation was, I'm not sure that was handled properly.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is just down to him, and I would explain. I think that if you are lucky enough to be Manchester United manager, you should know that it's easily one of the top 3 biggest clubs in the world. I understand for sure that United haven't bought well, but United are suffering from the same thing like teams like Chelsea and Liverpool and Arsenal have suffered in the past. There's so much money now in the Premier League, so much to a point that the gap between what used to be the top teams, the middle teams, and the low teams is so narrow.
Yeah.
Bournemouth, Tottenham, Newcastle. These are clubs that have the same purchasing power as United these days. Isaac will go for 100 million if they are to buy him. Gimenez will go for 100. Newcastle have the same quality, if not even more, at this moment. But let me still pin it on their manager. In that, you see, if you've seen David Moyes go to Everton and flip it around immediately, then you begin to wonder, how experienced is this guy? How knowledgeable is this guy in team management? And this is why I always maintain that somebody like Rashford should have stayed at least till the summer. Well, Rooney tells a really interesting story of when he wanted to leave Manchester United and Jose Mourinho was there. Then they still had the Europa League. And he told Mourinho that he wanted to leave. Do you know what Mourinho said to him? Listen, I know you're not playing a lot of games. I know you're not happy, and it's not down to me. But I need your help. And can we just work professionally from now to the end of the season? When the season ends in the summer, you give me an opportunity to what? To bring in the players I want to. I give you an opportunity to also help this team. Because give it or take it, this team has given you something in your career. And if you leave, we lose bodies, but we lose experience, and we lose somebody that we can count on in the last minute. And I think that in the instance of Rashford, and I understand, Rashford has been underperforming, he's been naughty, he's been so annoying sometimes. But sometimes you don't need to like somebody to work with them. And I just felt that you needed him. And they didn't see this Ahmad injury coming. They didn't see that. And that is what might even cost them, because Ahmad is their best player. Like the manager said that nobody has created situations since he's come like Ahmad. Imagine if Ahmad was injured and then they still have the experience of Rashford, and then Rashford has a point to prove before leaving in the summer. And again, just to nail on that and finish, regardless of the backing that you get, players that you've brought in, you can only stay in a job if you win football games. Graham Potter learned that at Chelsea. He wanted time, he wanted his own players. But if the results don't start improving, the fans will come after you. And the only thing that keeps you in the job is the fans. It really is.
Interesting. I mean, that's a fair point. For the United fans, I don't know where you want to lay this blame. How much of it is the manager's fault? How much of it is Ineos's fault, the owner's fault? And Rama, I saw a very interesting tweet from you at the West Ham game. You said, which club fans actually like their owners? Because everywhere, every Premier League ground he goes to, everybody wants their owners out.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Honestly,
that made me laugh a little bit. But let's talk about Chelsea a moment, because Chelsea have managed 9 points from their last 9 matches. 9 Premier League points from their last 9 games. They had 34 points from their first 16. That's how bad they're falling off, averaging more than 2 points per game in the first 60 matches, so now averaging 1 point per match. And in that period, I read this analysis, Chelsea's average possession in matches has gone up. They've increased their average possession to 62% from 59%. So what's happening? They're keeping the ball more now, but they're not scoring or winning. They've become maybe a bit more risk averse, I think. What's going on there?
Look, because of time, I would like to defer almost everything to...
Especially the backroom stuff, right?
I'm just going to say, and that stat you just pointed out there, to be honest, I've not seen that stat. I've not read it. I've not seen it anywhere. And it's good you bring that, because 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, when he spoke about Chelsea, and Danny was here, and I said that when Chelsea lose the ball, that is the best time for... When Chelsea have got the ball, is the best time for the opponent, because at some point they're going to lose it. But it is when they've lost it that,
the reaction.
That Chelsea are incredibly vulnerable.
Organization.
And I think that Premier League teams perhaps have figured it out, that, look, they can have the ball, but when they have the ball, less time when we win it. As soon as they win off them, that is when they are cutting them open and they are picking them apart. And that could maybe account for why a lot of Premier League teams are allowing them to have the ball, because the turnover is where Chelsea really gets hurt.
This is a number that would blow your mind. Against Brighton, Chelsea had the ball 69.2%.
Yeah, and we are talking about...
didn't have a single shot on target in 90 minutes.
And we're talking about a Brighton team that otherwise keeps the ball very well. But in this game coming against Chelsea, they knew that if Chelsea had the ball a lot more, and they knew where and when to win the ball, that could be it. And you saw the last goal they scored for the Liverpool trying to give a pass. Look how high they squeezed, won the ball off him. As soon as they did that, that was a goal. And so it's on the turnovers that Chelsea are really, really struggling. But yeah, at the moment, it doesn't look like Maresca's team is playing the way we thought they would continue to play. I'm not surprised. I thought the squad was inexperienced. I knew these moments were going to come. I just didn't think it was going to be this bad. The other thing, too, is Chelsea flubbed that January transfer window. I thought they left the January transfer window with a weaker squad than what they had going into the January
Too many
transfer
good
window.
players left.
I thought too many valuable players left. I mean, Renato Vega, in my opinion, is a great.
And we saw him over the week.
And it's playing well for Juventus. I think that if you've got such a player on the bench, it gives Levi Colwell, it gives all others something to think about. They know.
Sassy's gone too.
Yeah, they know their position. Somebody can come in and take their position. But at the moment, when you look on Chelsea's bench, it looks short. Joao Felix, I know Chelsea fans don't like him that much. I still think that there's a place for him. I still think that he's a player who can take players away to create space for others. At the moment, the only one player that has got that ability in the Chelsea team is Cole Palmer, right? But there are times in games where you need two players who are able to attract bodies to them and allow others to run off them. We've not
Now
seen enough of
Jackson
it.
too is injured.
And now Jackson is injured. And so I just think Chelsea's January transfer planning was bad. And in the end, they've left themselves short and the manager as well short.
Rahman, Joe Cole spoke about the lack of experience in the Chelsea squad. He was very, very loud about it and said, if anybody thought that just assembling kids that have potential alone is going to just magically work together in the next 3-4 years based on their potential, that's never going to happen. You have to have the mix right.
I guarantee you, Joe Cole listened to me on this show and he repeated what I said.
he says you have to have the mix right.
He didn't say a joke. He didn't say it was a joke anyway.
No.
Or he left that one out.
He said, absolutely, you must have experience in there. But Rahman, there is also an aspect of squad management, dressing room issues. Maresca, there were questions around even his pre-match press conference where he said publicly that he had 2 years to make Champions League football. Too many people aren't impressed with what's going on there with Chelsea.
So many things they didn't have at the beginning of the season. So when a new manager comes in, it's like the decks you manage. When everybody comes in at the beginning of the year, there's renewed energy. Everybody wants to impress the boss. Karim wants to come on set. Quaranti wants to come on set. Sicho wants to come on set. So the energy is real. By the time half of the year is coming, everybody knows where they stand in the manager. Then they begin to think, oh, what does this manager think of me? I mean, if this guy plays bad games, he still gets paid. And just the dressing room. And one of the things that has made Carlo Ancelotti one of the best managers, and I say this and a lot of people say, oh, you're just waffling. But I think it's his ability to keep that Real Madrid dressing room as intact and as happy as possible. And there are so many big egos in that dressing room at Madrid. When Rudiger was going there, the best defender at that time was Militao. And I admit that Militao is injured and all that. But there was just that kind of rivalry between Militao and Rudiger, and the way they managed it, that both of them could play and eventually establish themselves was brilliant. Now, Maresca's challenge at Chelsea will be how he's able to keep players that are not playing happy so they can be useful. And I take it from Sicho's ending. Felix came in for 40-something million and he hasn't played enough and he's already out. Viega came in for a lot of money also, and he was supposed to be a very good player, could play right back, centre back, and even sometimes he was played as a left back. He's also not played enough, and he's gone to Juventus. And I'm told a really interesting story that when Malta called him, Malta said to him, told him how he wanted him, told him how he wanted to play. And the moment he dropped the call, he knew immediately that he wanted to leave Chelsea and go. So normally that kind of relationship to keep players happy when they are not playing will be essential. But again, eventually, last season, when Maresca was manager of Leicester, they built such a healthy lead in the league, in the Champions.
Yeah.
And then at some point, it all fell apart. And then they just limped across the line to win it. Now, there are people that believe that it's a style of play. And I mean, the injuries haven't helped, because now people are understanding that nobody presses better in that Chelsea team than Nicholas Jackson. They've tried in Kunku and it hasn't worked. But I agree with you. Without tactics and everything, there are so many problems at Chelsea now, from ownership to management to even players. And I'm told there's going to be a protest, and I'm quite really interested to see what the protest will be, what the message will be, because what are they protesting for? Are they protesting to kick out the owners? Are they protesting to change the model the owners have brought? Or they're protesting to get the manager out? It'll be interesting to see what they'll do. But yeah, it's not ideal. But I just want to say one thing, just quickly, because I know we're pressed with time.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just the owners have a hard task to impress Chelsea fans. And friends, I know you're a Chelsea fan, and you said you were not happy with the result. I think that the timing in which they came to buy Chelsea always meant they would be compared to Roman Abramovich. But we also have to have in mind that the times in which Roman owned Chelsea are totally different to the times, Bluco and Bowley owned Chelsea.
Yeah.
At that time, Roman could buy anybody, could write off any bill, and there were no financial fair play restrictions. These ones, for your information, are even more wealthier than Roman, but they cannot just spend and write off. So they have to find a system where they can spend and still be able to be within the rules.
Roman, they spent 1.3 billion over the period. They've not been here for 3 years. They spent 1.3 billion and they don't have a good goalkeeper. They don't have an experienced centre back. They don't have an experienced striker. Yeah. They spent 1.3 billion over this period and the team still looks like they need 500 million to fix their problems. How have they managed to squander that money without fixing the real problems?
So the answer to that is that they have so many people making footballing decisions.
Right.
So now, why are Manchester City the best club in the world? They just have one person with the manager deciding who comes into the football club.
Right.
Chelsea has 2 sporting directors. Then they have Joe Shields, who is the head of academy. Then they have the manager. And sometimes you even have some of the owners inputting. So many people are deciding who are coming. That is naivety. I agree on that they've spent a lot of money on a lot of players, and the expectations were that they were good talents that would eventually, by the time getting to 24-25, would excel. So that's where your point and Joe Cole's point will come, that is a mistake.
Yeah.
But you cannot fault the thinking behind that. The thinking behind that was to be able to reduce the wage bill. So if you had players earning 15 million, 20 million, they thought that if they, I think it's just to catch them young, pay them less, develop them. So by the time they become world stars, the club benefits for a long-term project. So you cannot fault the thinking of that. It's the execution that has become a problem.
Right.
Interesting. Too much over-sabi.
Too many loopholes.
You want to beat the system.
They found too many loopholes.
This is what happened.
And they are falling in the hole.
And that would have been, a victory would have taken them top of Serie A. But Champions League second round fixtures are here. Quick one, Rahman, you want to take a bite at quick predictions? Just mention the fixture. You tell me how it's going to go. Milan finals.
Madrid to massacre City at the Bernabeu. I mean, Madrid is just, their mentality, their mindset is unbelievable.
Just give me a prediction, Rahman. Our time is running out. What's going to happen?
Madrid to win 2-0.
2-0. All right, we'll see. I think that's what everybody is looking
Absolutely,
for.
that's the game to win.
Final AC Milan. Milan have to be careful.
I think Milan will come back. I think so.
You think so? Yeah. They're down 1-0. Anyway, that's our show for tonight. Rahman, thank you so much. God bless you for staying up with us.
Thank you.
Sicho, thank you as well.
Cheers.
Thank you to all of our viewers and to all of our sponsors for always being very kind to be with us here on the show. My name is Fentu Tahiru Fensho. That's another episode of Sports Zone Wrapped. We'll be back again next Monday. Until then, do take care and bye-bye.